Here goes!
The Trails series is no stranger to evolution. Since its 2004 debut, the games have undergone multiple engine changes, gradually shifting from nostalgic sprite work to full cinematic 3D action. When you also consider the franchise's impressive consistency with 13 mainline entries across 20 years, the growth and change that developer Nihon Falcom has embraced feels nothing short of monumental. I still remember how dramatic the shift felt in 2017 when Trails of Cold Steel 3 actually took the leap to PlayStation 4, and it showed in its graphics. Character models, lighting, textures, resolution, and just about every facet that you can think of received a major facelift. It was during that reveal that I started wondering how the series' origins might look in modern presentation. Of course, Falcom is not a massive AAA studio, so that dream felt more like a pleasant what-if than a realistic possibility. Yet that fantasy has now taken shape as Trails in the Sky First Chapter, a from-the-ground-up remake of the very first game in the series. It arrives alongside the ongoing Calvard arc seen in the Daybreak saga, which already features a notable engine shift, and Falcom decided that Sky Remake should follow suit. So, let's get into it in this preview.
Wow, it's so dark here. Hey, Joshua, how should we do the patrol?
Let's see. We can check the perimeter of the home, fields, barn, and greenhouse. That should cover the entire ranch.
Got it. Okay, let's go. The farm is so quiet at night. Do you think the chickens and cows are asleep too?
Keep quiet. We don't want the monsters to notice us.
Beyond a few broader locations and more defined visuals, the most striking addition to Trails in the Sky First Chapter is the blend of action and turn-based combat. It's a significant departure from the solely turn-based systems that define the series up through the first Trails Through Daybreak. Naturally, fans have spent months speculating and worrying about how these changes might land. To be honest, I personally felt the same push and pull, and while I'm not a diehard loyalist of this particular saga, I do have more than a decade of attachment to its compact world, and I am pretty protective of what makes it special. All that anticipation is cresting now that the full release is next month, Jesus Christ. And ahead of its simultaneous worldwide launch, I'm happy to report that a generous free demo will arrive on digital storefronts for all prospective players. This includes the entirety of Sky FC's lengthy prologue. That alone should give newcomers plenty of room to decide if the series is for them and give veterans a clear look at whether they are open to this new direction. After playing through the demo, I am more than confident in what Trails in the Sky First Chapter is going for. It has a real shot of being one of the strongest, most polished, and most approachable entries in this sprawling, multifaceted franchise. This prologue demo communicates a clarity of purpose that makes the new systems feel cohesive rather than grafted on. What stands out immediately is how faithful this remake creates the original Sky FC without cutting any corners. Years ago, I remember wishing that FC and its direct sequel, SC, would be remade as a single release. Mostly though, since those two games feel like halves of a whole in a way that the third entry doesn't. But that's not what Falcom chose, and in hindsight, I'm actually relieved. Experiencing each chapter on its own terms gives these stories the space that they deserve. The opening town of Relent sets the tone beautifully. It reestablishes the evolving status quo of protagonists Estelle and Joshua Bright, while letting the quieter moments breathe a lot more. In some alternative timeline where an all-in-one remake stitched FC and SC together, these early hours would likely feel compressed. Here, they unfold with the same easy warmth that made the original so inviting. I have spent the last decade imagining how Relent would look in a modern engine. Trails in the Sky First Chapter delivers on this. The Bright family home has a lived-in comfort, and the town's suburban layout reads cleanly at a glance with enough detail to reward slow looks. Standing atop the central clock tower and taking in the view, I felt the scale in a way that the old top-down angle couldn't fully convey. Nearby landmarks like the tower and the mine appear cleanly in the new art style, and the simple quality of life additions like the mini-map and the fast travel make returning to these spots painless. There are even small new touches, like tucked away items that reward careful exploration. I am eager to revisit the towns from both the first and the second chapters though, which have long been my least favorite hubs due to the lack of standout designs. Seen in this style though, I expect them to stick in my memory far more than before. On the gameplay side, Sky First Chapter borrows the building blocks of Trails through Daybreak. Outdoor areas have a measure of seamless navigation, and action combat incorporates combos, time dodges, on-the-fly character switching, and crafts. A single button press slides you into a classic turn-based battle, so the two styles interact rather than compete here. The handoff is quick and readable. There's also a system adjacent to the BP mechanic in Cold Steel. Critical hits, follow-ups, and other actions feed a numeric meter that unlocks higher impact moves. An updated take on Overdrive lets you boost abilities mid-battle, and the in-game achievement system from the Crossbell duology and Daybreak returns to create a steady reward loop. Even in the prologue, that loop feels very satisfying. I can already see how the pace will evolve as the party grows and more options open up. For the demo, I played on Nightmare difficulty, which is the highest level of difficulty available from the beginning of the game. Still, I should explain that within the Trail series, Nightmare difficulty can mean very different things. In early versions of Sky, where Nightmare was added after the original Japan-only PC releases, it could be punishing without a New Game Plus foundation. The Crossbell duology aimed for a fairer balance though. Later releases like Cold Steel and Daybreak 1 were comically easy to break wide open, which undercut the difficulty's teeth early on. That said, Reverie and Daybreak 2 have felt more reasonably tuned, and Sky First Chapter seems capable of joining that group. Boss encounters on Nightmare will push you hard if you fail to keep gear updated. Enemy telegraphs matter, and a poorly timed hit will destroy your party. That constant pressure makes the familiar cooking and orb mid systems feel essential. Recipes are learned by eating the foods that you find, and orb mints use the original Sepith value iteration to unlock arts. The result with this is a combat backbone that nods to Sky's origins while still taking advantage of new tech. I should say that this doesn't feel like a Daybreak clone with a Sky skin. It respectively rebuilds what was there, and it looks great doing it. There were plenty of practical touches as well. On PS5, the demo supported 120 FPS, and the returning turbo mode has customization speed thresholds. Console controls are remappable, and you can choose between soundtrack types, including the original, the Vita Evolution arrangements, and the new version. There are a few other granular toggles for those who like to fine-tune the experience a little further. If I have one concern at this stage, it's the English voice direction during real-time cutscenes. Text box scenes read fine, yet some spoken lines feel stiff in their delivery. I do hope that this smooths out once we're out of the early hours. My feelings going in were mixed of skepticism and excitement, which I think mirrors much of the fan base. Remakes can swing too far towards a strict one-to-one that forgets why the update even exists, or they stray so far from the source that they lose that thread. Based on the 10 hours I spent with the prologue, Trails in the Sky First Chapter finds a promising middle ground. It gives the series' origins real respect while still embracing the features that Falcom has refined more recently. That balance actually matters, as it suggests a future where classic Trails identity and modern design can coexist without either side feeling compromised. There's not much longer to wait for this release. Trails in the Sky First Chapter launches worldwide on PS5, Nintendo Switch, and PC via Steam on September 19th. Progress from the demo, if you download it and play through, carries into the full release, which makes this prologue a perfect place to settle in, test some systems, and decide how you want to approach the journey. If the rest of the game maintains the care and confidence shown here, Sky's return is poised to resonate with new players and longtime fans alike. Thanks for watching this video. Noisy Pixel is run by a group of gamers providing independent gaming coverage through news, reviews, previews, and more. Check out our Patreon to help support what we're doing, and please subscribe for all our future content.
Noisy Pixel.